What is up, guys? Mega Guy with another video, and today is another review, and this is the review for Series 2 Halo Universe blind bags. I know I'm a little bit late, but luckily my reviews aren't exactly what everyone else is doing. It's more of a diorama type review, so I basically just talk about why these figures would be good in a diorama, and yeah, so that way you kind of get more of an understanding, if you are a diorama maker, of how you can use them. But yeah, let's get started. So this wave kind of surprised me with some of the figures. I thought, in my head at first, I thought this is a pretty medium wave, just because I wasn't really interested in that many of the figures. But then once I got them in hand, I was like, these actually have a lot of value and could be pretty cool for dioramas. So yeah, I'm gonna go into each individual figure now. So I'm going to start off with each individual figure, and I'm going to go from least to best. So let's start out with the warrior. This sort of beige sand colored warrior, I think it's pretty decent. I mean, it just doesn't have anything that wows me. I don't really like this color that much in all Spartans, so I am biased. I know some people probably do like it, but for me, it is good because it's like a realistic color scheme for a Spartan, like a military type color scheme. But as far as actual flashiness and just star power, it just doesn't have it for me. And I would say even less so with the weapon. This just really does not look good to me in the color. I think it's a railgun. You know me. I know the weapons until I'm about to film a video. So yeah, I'd say that figure, pretty decent. It's just not a wow figure, you know what I mean? I'd actually say it's like a 4 out of 10 in my eyes. Next is a figure that actually really surprised me. I don't really care for the, this Forerunner design, the Halo 5 Forerunner design. I just didn't really care for it that much. And then I got my hands on this figure and I thought, this is actually pretty nice. Even though I have some of these figures, I have maybe 2, not many at all. But just look at that design. Just look at that detail on the back. These tendrils, I guess they would be. They're just like spikes, even though they're not really spiky at all. They come out the back. Those are pretty cool. The face is pretty well detailed. I think it's a nice color. And then that orange underneath, it adds a very nice futuristic touch that I actually really like. I ended up getting probably 4 of these, maybe even one more, just because of how I think it does have some utility for dioramas. I think what you're going to want to do with these is if you have some Promethean Knights, you put it in there, and maybe you have them just kind of all defending the base. With the Spartan, I didn't talk about the diorama ability because it's Spartan. You guys know what to do with it. So yeah, I think that this definitely has some value as a diorama figure, especially if you missed the Halo 5 collecting and Halo 4 collecting era. You can get some of these figures and use them for dioramas. I think that eventually they will come back, and people will probably want this figure at some point, right? So let's move on to the next one. So the next figure, and I have 3 more figures after this, and this was actually going to be my favorite figure, I thought. When I first was seeing the pictures of the wave, I was like, you know what, this is a super nice color, and I actually still agree with that. I still really like this figure. I think the diorama ability of it is it's a grunt, but it is more of a standout grunt. I'll say you could imagine this one leading other grunts into battle, or in some sort of special environment, maybe even a special ops type grunt, just because of that glowing, polished kind of bronze look. I think it's super, super nice. Those were 2 plasma grenades. I didn't take its weapon out, but yeah, it looks really nice. And I think that the fact that there are 3 that I think are better than this in this series goes a long way about how I feel about the series. And I'd actually say this figure is like an 8. It's a great figure for diorama ability. It's a grunt. I mean, obviously, pretty much all grunts are great for dioramas. But yeah, this one looks even better than the average one. So here's a figure I feel kind of weird about. On one hand, I was super excited to get an EOD. This is going to be my probably 3rd favorite in the series, and it goes ahead of the grunt, not because of the figure itself probably, but because of something that it comes with. And I think a lot of you know what it is, but I'll show it afterwards just so you do get to see it. The EOD is just an amazing armor, I think. Just that it's made for explosives. You can imagine with this face, kind of an odd looking armor. And I think it just is like a really cool, unique armor. The thing for me, I was like, I really want an EOD, and I actually did predict an EOD in my prediction video. The mistake I made was, I did not expect for it to be in this like Xbox green. I think that that's sort of cool as like a collector's piece. Like I think that unique pieces, like unique colors, make for good collector's pieces. So I'd say that's good. But as far as for dioramas, just this vibrant green is not really amazing. If you want to make it your custom Spartan, you be my guest. Hey, I'm not here to tell you how to make dioramas. Like, I don't have any rules for you. But I just don't think it looks as good unless you just have like a fire team diorama where it's supposed to be multiplayer Spartans. Because then you could see, oh, okay, I see why that guy picked like this color of green. But yeah, it does look good. It's just for diorama ability, it does lose some points on my opinion. But as far as the EOD armor, of course, it looks beautiful as always. Like it's a beautiful mold. They did a great job with the face detail, all of that. But yeah, pretty mediocre for diorama ability in my opinion, of course. Just so you guys know, the things that I say as far as these reviews go, are not facts. They're actually just opinions. I know I'm just like, you trust my wisdom on this, but trust me, they're just opinions. But yeah, let's get to what takes this and makes it my third favorite figure, and that is the Mauler. The Mauler is no, it's not the Mauler. It is the Xbox piece. And this is so cool. The fact that they made this little Xbox piece and they made it I think it's a common figure or common, I think the EOD is a common figure, so it's very easy to get these. I ended up getting 2 EODs just for this. The EOD itself, as far as diorama ability goes, is probably like a 3 in my opinion. But this as a piece, like, not for dioramas at all, but just for like a collector's piece. Like if you have this on your shelf and your best collector's pieces, and then you have one of them holding an Xbox, it's like, oh, that's pretty iconic. Like I think people respect it. So I definitely do. So yeah, I think that this piece is going to be one of the most valuable pieces that Mega ever makes. Like I know that's a wild statement, but I think like in 5 years when Mega and hopefully Halo are back, and like really, really strong, I think that people will be like, oh man, I wish I had that piece. Where'd you get this piece if they see it in your collection? And you'll be like, oh, well, I had to buy a goofy looking green EOD to get it. But yeah, I definitely recommend getting this. I think it's so cool. And yeah, I bought 2. So that shows you, even though its diorama ability is useless, I guess you could have it on like a shelf or something in a house diorama, which could be kind of cool. But for the most part, it's just cool as a collector's piece. So yeah, I love this. So as you can tell, I had to change up the setting a little bit because these little rascals just kind of don't really show very well in that brown sand color that's in my my like larger piece of my diorama. But they are so cool. And I was never a big guy to collect a bunch of Flood. I always was like, you know what? It's like, I don't really need them. I don't really have that many Flood pieces. I don't have Flood figures. Why would I do this? But now that they're coming out with the Traxxas Tower, I think that these, like, building up your Flood right now is just going to be, like, very useful for dioramas in the future. I probably bought, like, 4 packs of these, so I have, like 15 Flood now. And what's really, really great about this is the colors they use are amazing. They do just have like a little bit, so there's like a darker color, there's a slightly less dark, and then there's like a lighter Flood color. And then if you've seen the ones from the, I think it's like the Forward to Dawn blind bag series, they are an even lighter color. And I actually don't like their colors much, but having this variability in the Flood is awesome just because you're like, oh, okay, it doesn't just like look like a pile of goo anymore. It looks like a pile of like, for lack of a term, like a better term, like flesh. It's like a fleshy look. But yeah, it's really cool. And then they have these. If you haven't gotten a Flood piece before, because it's been a while since I released it, they have this, and this is actually like a ball joint. So you could put it on top of a head if you wanted to. Might not look great, but also if you have like a ball joint or like a something sticking out of let's see, So like this, you could stick it onto one like this, or if you have something that's on a building that's poking out, you can stick it on there and it can be like look like it's climbing up the building. And I just think that's really, really, really cool. So yeah, these surprised me again. Like I said, I didn't used to care about flood figures, at least the spores, or I guess they're the spores. I don't really know, but yeah, these just look really good. I was super impressed, and at first I was like, oh, I'll just buy one, and then I was talking to Strandy42, who's an amazing Mega Construx Instagrammer. Go check him out, definitely. Really cool guy, and he does like amazing photos. But yeah, and I just thought he kind of talked me into him. He got me excited about him, and I was like, you know what, Strandy, you're right. These are cool. So yeah, they make it to number 2 on my list. And then for number 1. So number 1 is this Halo 3 Marine. It just kind of shocked me how good it was. Or yeah, is it Halo 3 or Halo 2? Oh my gosh, why is this slipping my mind? Let's go Halo 2. Either way, this figure is absolutely gorgeous. I didn't really go in with high hopes. Of course, I was excited. It's always good to get new skin tones with figures just so your dioramas don't look just like all one skin tone. I just think it's cool to give you some variability because that's how it would be in the UNSC. I mean, it is, people from across the universe, so they'd be a lot of different skin tones, which, yeah, I think I was very excited for that, but also just the color that they use on the pieces, like this gray and this sort of like beige color and this green, they go together so well. And again, like I was saying, Strandy42, he got me really excited because he actually did some pop and swaps with these, and he has like, female Marines and like other skin tone Marines in this armor, and it looks absolutely awesome. It's so cool. So I'm really excited for this armor. I hope that they also do more skin tones and maybe even have a woman one. That way I can have more variability in this. I'd love to have more dioramas with this figure because I think it's a banger. I think it's so good. And I think that people just kind of love having Marine figures. They make it easy to make dioramas. I remember at first when I started, I was like, oh my gosh, I need Marines. Like, I don't have any. And all I had was those Delta Marines, and I needed like tons of them. And still, I'm so glad I bought like 10 of them because I use them all the time. But yeah, I think this is a really cool figure. I think that it's going to be a really popular army builder in the future, and hopefully they do more. So yeah, this is probably a 10 on diorama ability. And the Flood, sorry I didn't mention what the Flood are. The Flood are like a 9. I think that these both are going to be super, super popular. So yeah, let's go into the final thoughts. All right, and here is the conclusion. I decided to add a little diorama. Here is the soldier stepping on a flood. Here is a Spartan smacking a grunt with an Xbox. Here is this guy just celebrating it all. And then here is a Marine being taken over by a flood, which that is a scene I'm going to make again because that is an awesome scene. But yeah, I just love it. This series really surprised me. There are so many cool army builders, so many great things, and I'm just excited about it. And I thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for sticking with me. I know I have a lot of periods where I don't upload, so thank you guys for sticking with me. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Let me know what you guys think below. Bye!